Good morning. Another beautiful day in God's kingdom. Sometimes we kind of think that we always have to do something to earn God's attention, to earn God's, intervention in our lives. But it might not always be the case. Like in the story that we have today, and we're looking at the book of Luke, and we're in chapter 7. And let's see what it says from verse 11. It says here, now it happened the day after that Jesus went into a city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him, and a large crowd. And when he came near the gate of the city, behold, a dead man was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the city was with her. And when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said to her, do not weep. Then he came and touched the open coffin, and those who carried him stood still. And he said, young man, I say to you, arise. So he who was dead sat up and began to speak, and Jesus, presented him to his mother. Then fear came upon all the people, and they glorified God, saying, a great prophet has risen up among us. And they said, God has visited his people. And this report about Jesus went out throughout all Judea and all the surrounding region. You see, this woman, the Bible says, was a widow. When the Bible begins to give you, descriptions about a thing and spells it out, there's always a reason. And of course, it's because this woman at this point in time, yes, we note here that she's a widow, which meant that she didn't have her husband, she didn't have a husband anymore, she didn't have her breadwinner of the family, and then she had a son, and she only had one son, and this one son was the one that had taken the place of the father, presumably in the family, was providing for her, taking care of her, bringing her matters before court and all of that, administratively, everything. This was the boy, the son, that was doing all of this stuff. And then this boy dies as well. This young man dies as well. The son is dead. And now she is left all alone in the world. And though this crowd was following her, very soon they were going to disperse and they were all going to go to their homes, and she'd be left on her own, literally. And here the Bible says that Jesus, looking at her, immediately the whole picture, the whole story of this woman's life flashed before him. He saw everything about her. And the Bible says his heart overflowed with compassion, and he went and did something about her situation. And so for us as believers, we take examples from this. We take, a teaching from this, that, hey, you can call on God and say, God, yeah, it's not about how good I've been or what I've done. I don't even deserve it. But Lord, look upon me with compassion. Have mercy on me. Just as you had mercy upon this woman, just as your heart overflowed with compassion for this woman, look at my situation and let your heart overflow with compassion for me and intervene in my situation. And I can tell you that you may not have done anything to earn God's attention, but if you can cry out to him and call upon him for that heart of compassion, for that mercy that God has in abundance, hey, listen, God can intervene for you and God can make it all good. God bless you. Have a beautiful day and a great week.